No one expected this moment to arrive so fast. For decades, the European Union was presented as a symbol of stability, prosperity, and unity. A project that transformed a war-torn continent into one of the most advanced economic and political blocs in the world. But today, cracks are no longer hidden. They are visible, deep, and spreading. What we are witnessing is not a sudden collapse, but the slow, grinding stress of a system pushed far beyond its limits. Across Europe, ordinary citizens are asking the same question in different languages: how did we get here? Energy prices that once seemed manageable have exploded. Industries that powered European growth are shutting down or relocating. Farmers protest, truck drivers block highways, workers strike, and governments struggle to respond. What was once described as a temporary crisis is now becoming a permanent condition. The energy shock was the first major fracture. Europe built its modern economy on the assumption of cheap, reliable energy. That assumption collapsed almost overnight. Sanctions, geopolitical rivalries, and broken supply chains transformed energy into a weapon. Households suddenly faced heating bills they could not afford. Factories reduced shifts or closed entirely. Governments rushed to subsidize prices, but subsidies only delayed the pain. Someone always pays in the end, and increasingly that someone is the taxpayer. Germany, long considered the industrial engine of Europe, began to slow. Chemical plants, steel factories, and automotive suppliers warned of permanent damage. When Germany sneezes, Europe catches a cold. This time, the symptoms spread fast. From Italy to the Netherlands, from Austria to Eastern Europe, the message was the same: competitiveness is slipping away. At the same time, inflation eroded purchasing power. Food prices climbed, rent increased, interest rates rose sharply as central banks tried to control inflation, making mortgages and loans more expensive. For millions of families, life became a careful calculation of what could be postponed and what could no longer be paid. Trust in institutions weakened as promises failed to match reality. Political unity also began to fracture. The European Union is not a single country, it is a complex compromise between national interests. In times of prosperity, compromise feels easy. In times of crisis, every nation looks inward. Northern countries accuse southern states of financial irresponsibility. Eastern members complain about unequal treatment. Western leaders argue over defense, migration, and spending priorities. Decisions that once took weeks now take months, or never happen at all. Migration has become another pressure point. Conflicts, climate stress, and economic collapse in other regions push people toward Europe. Some countries call for solidarity, others build walls. Public opinion hardens as governments appear unable to control borders or integrate newcomers effectively. Extremist parties gain support by offering simple answers to complex problems. The political center weakens. Trust in leadership is fading. Elections across Europe show growing dissatisfaction. Voters punish incumbents, regardless of ideology. New coalitions form, often fragile and unstable. Governments fall faster than they can deliver reforms. This instability makes long-term planning nearly impossible. Businesses hesitate to invest. Citizens hesitate to believe. Defense and security add another layer of strain. Europe finds itself in a dangerous global environment, dependent on external allies while trying to build its own capabilities. Military spending rises, but coordination remains difficult. Some countries push for stronger integration, others fear losing sovereignty. Once again, unity clashes with national priorities. The global context makes everything worse. Europe is no longer the center of the world economy. Power is shifting. Asia grows faster. Energy flows change direction. Trade routes adapt. Europe must compete in a world where old advantages no longer guarantee success. Regulations that once ensured stability now sometimes slow innovation. While others move fast, Europe debates. Social tension is rising. Young people feel locked out of opportunity. Older generations fear losing what they built. Rural areas feel abandoned. Cities become more expensive and divided. The promise that each generation would live better than the last no longer feels true. When hope disappears, anger takes its place. The idea of the European Union itself is being questioned more openly than ever before. Not necessarily because people reject cooperation, but because they doubt the current structure can survive modern realities. Some want deeper integration, a true political union. Others want less, more national control, fewer shared rules. These visions are fundamentally incompatible, and the EU struggles to be both at the same time. Financial stress continues to build. High debt levels limit government options. Bailouts become politically toxic. Banking systems remain vulnerable to shocks. One crisis feeds another. Confidence, once lost, is hard to restore. And yet, this is not the end of Europe. It is a turning point. Cracks do not always mean collapse, sometimes they force change. Europe still has enormous strengths: educated populations, advanced infrastructure, technological expertise, cultural influence, and a history of reinvention. The question is not whether Europe can survive, but what kind of Europe will emerge. Will leaders confront hard truths, or continue postponing decisions? Will citizens accept painful reforms, or demand protection from change? Will the European Union adapt to a multipolar world, or remain trapped in old assumptions? These questions will define the next decade. What happens next will not be decided in a single summit or election. It will unfold slowly, through choices made under pressure. Some countries may move closer together, others may drift away. The map may not change, but the balance of power within Europe will. One thing is certain: the era of easy answers is over. The European Union is cracking, not because it failed, but because the world changed faster than its structure. Whether those cracks become a collapse or a foundation for renewal depends on what happens now. History shows that Europe has survived worse. Wars, depressions, divisions. The current crisis is different, quieter, slower, but no less dangerous. It is a test of vision, courage, and honesty. And the outcome is still uncertain. The world is watching. Not just markets and governments, but ordinary people everywhere, because what happens in Europe never stays in Europe. The freefall is real. The landing has not yet begun.